I'm still waiting for the panelists to sit. We're waiting for the chair of IF, Prof. I'm Princess Dr. Nikki Webam. I'm the founder and the global president of African Indigenous Leaders. So my contribution will be that I am here representing the indigenous leaders, royals across the continent. So I'm willing to collaborate with all the speakers because we have the network of traditional leaders. Even with Oxfam, I was speaking to the lady Utyanji that whenever you want to go and do a project in the communities, any of the provinces here in South Africa, we do have access to the kingdoms. If we are not speaking to the king, obviously we'll have an administrator or access to that because we have facilitated invitations to many of these traditional leaders here in South Africa and also abroad. But what I also wanted to contribute was that regarding the values, there was a movement, moral regeneration movement, which also involved the indigenous leaders because as we gained our freedom, then we understood that we have lost most of our values and so on, cultures, our heritage. So I think that movement was something that was restoring that, more especially on young people. So my suggestion was to say that whenever we start organizations, at least we must just also check what work has been done that relates to what you are also trying to do so that we can copy some of the good practices that those organizations have done. I just have a few pointers here. I also want to rob in Prof. Mosoma regarding the interfaith, because we had a lot of issues regarding the churches and all. So I also want to check with the chairperson of if you have maybe went back to CRL and checked the challenges that we had in terms of the religious organizations. And also some of the suggestions like the peer reviews, regulations and all that, because I would love to see those things being mentioned on how we can regulate our churches, seeing that there's a lot of things that are happening with regard to our faith leaders, like maybe we should not use religious, but maybe we can use faith leaders. So I want to actually ask if maybe there is any working relationship to that, because there is a lot of cases that are sitting there, and we would like to have something that now speaks to solving those issues. And lastly, also regarding the indigenous belief systems and stuff, there's also been papers and other research that have been done. The other time I came to this University of Pretoria, in the human rights, they have a human rights something here, center, yes, where there was a conversation regarding elderly people that are normally accused of witchcraft. So I would really love to actually see some of that work being integrated into your reports and also your formulation of any paper or guidelines, because we need to continuously involve traditional leaders in protecting such women and such people in the rural communities. Not to say that witchcraft is not there, but you cannot just look into an elderly person and then you say she's ugly and all, then she must be the one who's killing people around the villages. Okay, lastly, also, I want to suggest, because we had a conversation and then Uqinebepa mentioned something about a universal prayer. I'm an educator and we have a lot of challenges in schools, and a lot of people will say, ever since you stopped assembly, then these are the problems that we had, because assembly will at least bring that respect and morals to the children. And then we stopped because people believed that we should accommodate all the religions. So I think it's time that we formulate a universal prayer, because sometimes we get into meetings and then if no one advocates for observation of other religions, maybe we'll have someone who's a Christian who will pray in the name of Jesus, and some of us don't really believe in that. So we will want maybe something that can bring us together, not just a national anthem as we normally do, but a prayer that can combine us and bring us all together, and that we can also say that schools must actually bring back the assembly, because most people take children to Christian schools because of the disrespect and lack of motivation in our schools. And I want to also see into it that all the 20s put something in terms of the youth, women, traditional leadership, and also education, because we are speaking a lot about that. And it's not a working group anyway. That means it has to fit in somewhere in your 20s. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Prof, did you have a question? Or is this what you wanted us to? So we're not, this is the last person before we go into the new session. We're just finishing what we didn't finish earlier. Thank you.
I was referring to the earlier discussion where we hear problems of food insecurity, saying that you can't have food security unless you have the land on which to grow food. Now we have a situation in this country where European settlers forcibly dispossessed indigenous African people of 93% of the total surface of South Africa and 95% of its productive capacity. And that was reduced to 87%. Now, my brother here, Ngofu, said, Africa is the richest continent, and yet Africans are the poorest people. And other scholars say that as Africans, we are the majority, but the cultural minority. Now, why cultural minority? Because Islam...
Prof, do you want to ask a question?
It's a question. The question is, in the north, the Muslims came, they conquered and Islamized. And then in the south, the Christians came, dispossessed us, working with the colonialists, and Christianized us. Now Africa is divided into two, Islam and Christian. And we are the cultural minority. Is that the work that religion that we talk about should serve, to dispossess Africans of the land, natural resources, and suppress their culture? Is that the future of religion on the continent? If not, what are we going to do to make sure that religion doesn't serve the purpose of dispossession?
Thank you, Prof. Okay, may we respond to these two comments and questions before we move into the new session, so that we go into a new clean slate? Who wants to respond to this?
I will start with Dr. Pam. I just think we welcome the engagement. We have got a difficulty with kings and access to kings. And in fact, as civil society in South Africa, the kings have got a space in COGTA, the traditional affairs element. So we mostly deal with chiefs who are organized under Contralesa and Rutesa. So so we'll welcome the engagement. In terms of the proposals about the work we are talking about, women have got an engagement group. Youth has got an engagement group. But education is a working group. So I think that the engagement with us, we are building relationships with engagement groups. including like Disability 20. Disability 20, basically, one of our co-chairs at C20 is Dr. Nzo, which we have, who comes directly from disability. So we need, but on traditional healers, one of the co-chairs again is Gogo Sheila, who's sitting as a deputy chair of C20. So I think that scope for engagement, though, is not closed. Luckily for us, it's an unfortunate situation that we started late, but luckily we can still create engagement and so on and so forth. So I think that's what I would say. Prof, in terms of what you are saying, so what we have done is basically to create space for engagement. So it's very easy to say, who are you as maybe leaders to tell us what must go to content and what mustn't go. So what we've done is to create a space that content could be discussed. So in the food and poverty space, there's that. There's various other areas where that could also be engaged on, including, by the way, specific conversations and side events in the build-up process. So we do want to have that conversation. But I said when I was presenting, that there's an area which relates to land and critical minerals. What we have done, we have made it a partnership between us and Labour. So there's Labour 20. So C20 and Labour 20 are working in terms of reference for the critical minerals conversation. Critical minerals are on land. And in our case, we are not calling it just transition. That basically implies the transition from coal to renewables. But we are calling it just transitions to also look at other critical minerals that are sunrise minerals, but to also look at digital economies and so on and so forth, which are transitions that we are undergoing. So I think that the announcement, we're doing announcements tomorrow of all the working groups that's constituted. The onus will be on organizations to go to the working groups and shape the terms of reference, shape the content and the outcome, because otherwise we will be criticized that we are showing our biases. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Anybody wants to say something?
Dr. Pam, thank you for sharing what you shared with us, especially around the traditional leaders. I'm sitting here thinking that people will get engagement fatigue if every 20 goes to them individually. And I think that out of this, we must develop a strategy of how we collectively engage, for example, traditional leaders and other groups that are significant in the work that we do. So I welcome that, and I think this forum creates an opportunity for us to form those partnerships and go to that place with you. Thank you.
Do you want to say something to that?
Okay, I think before I respond to all the number of religious questions by Dr. Bam, I just want to ask Professor Masoma to answer the one on the regulation of religion from the CRL, because I think he's been a former chair of that, and then I will answer some of your other questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I am no longer at the CRA, so I can't speak on behalf of. It will be an interference, you know. The process is with the Commission, and what has been done by us, the Commission must continue or discontinue. So any information that is required, either research or projects that were in the process or in the offing, those are the things that people are encouraged to approach the Commission. I wanted to get to the issue of land. You cannot talk about minerals because minerals are embedded in the land. So the primary focus is to make sure you talk about the land within which the minerals are extracted. So I think the point being made is that don't speak about what can be found, but talk about what has been dispossessed in its totality. When you do that, you are putting the actual fact of what needs to be the source of wealth. Okay? So I have not heard any presentation that deals with the land. Maybe we assume we have it. We don't. It is this that is required. It is ours. No one else can claim it. No one else. Okay? So I want us as Africans, when we deal with issues, let's not deal with the surface issues. Let's deal with the root cause. Because when you deal with the root cause, you are not going to deal with the effect. Okay? What we are dealing with now are the effects, not the cause. Deal with the cause and the effect will be removed. Thank you.
We're going to have to. Do you think the president need to say something? Well, I'm just fearing that the session that we meant to start has not started. We're going to lose people.
Yeah.
If you really have to say it.
Yeah, I just found out because, like, I was parachuted into the seat, and I wasn't too sure what happened before I was parachuted into the seat. And maybe Dr. Bam may not be aware of what the IF20 is really all about. And I'm not sure if that needs clarification, because we are more a facilitating body that facilitates religious organizations, faith-based organizations that come together and facilitate the process. We don't have an own opinion on behalf of, but we facilitate processes. All the issues that you have raised, we can facilitate that amongst the different religious groups, but we cannot pronounce with expertise as you are expecting us to do on your questions. So maybe just leave it at there, but I'll encourage you to go to our website and read more about who we are. And I think that will probably answer some of your questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to, maybe they will, not maybe. I will make an opportunity for you to come in. Is that okay? I just fear that other people are going to be provoked and will never get the page. But I promise you, you will get a mic. I really promise you. Okay, we hear you have all received these. Everything is done under the overarching themes of the national themes. Sorry? No, because, do you want to do it from there? No, so the aim, I mean, unless you feel too much under the glare of the cameras. Look, okay. Look, it's okay. If you feel, if you prefer to do it over there, it's really fine. It doesn't really matter. You have seen the priorities of IF20. They're in front of each one of you. I could just read the headlines if you want, not the entire content. But the aim is to list all the priorities, hopefully 5 priorities from each one of the other groups that are represented here. And from what I've heard since this morning, there are already a good number of areas of alignment where we are concerned by the same things. So maybe you want to say, I think it's easier for you, so that you don't have to break your necks. So IF20 priority area focus, I want to read